Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you here today on behalf of the 15th Field Regiment Museum. Perhaps a few words are in order before we get into the major part of the ceremony. I'm going to give you just a little background on the fort itself. First of all, this site was part of the Vancouver defenses in World War II. And at the end of the war, for a short period of time, it was used by the 15th Coast Regiment. And when they were converted into field artillery, the fort was virtually left, was really abandoned. A few buildings were used by the Department of National Defense, but really it was abandoned after 1950. In 1974, they were planning this building over here, the Museum of Anthropology, and as a result, part of the battery, which extended over to my right, was going to be destroyed in the construction. And as a result, Peter Mook, who is Professor Mook and also Major Mook, he's here wearing two hats today. He actually hasn't got a hat on, but he thought that this should be saved, and he managed to get the university to leave this particular emplacement without covering it over. They were going to make perhaps a Japanese garden here, and it was all going to be filled over. So that was the first rescue mission, really. After that, in 1975, he tried to get the provincial government to put in a plaque here to commemorate this area as a historic site. And that failed, but he didn't give up. Again in 1986, by then this place was totally overgrown, and at that point he tried again, and we have that much correspondence from cabinet ministers and so on in Victoria. Thank you, Vic. Brigadier Dumoulin, Madam Marzari, the Honourable MLA from Point Grey, Colonel Hood, Dr. Unger, members of the Armed Forces, and guests who are here today. As we look around on a splendid day such as this, a typical Vancouver day, we might tell our friends from Ontario, I guess we all understand why we're here. And the simplistic answer to that question, why are we here today, is of course to unveil in a few moments this plaque, to commemorate an event that took place here almost 52 years ago. And almost 52 years ago, it wasn't as peaceful as it was in Vancouver, and the clouds of war loomed in Europe, and were soon to affect all Canadians. We're here, if I delve a little deeper into your hearts and into your minds of all those that are gathered here, we're here not just to unveil the plaque, we're also here because among our members today, gathered today, are those of you who did serve here. And those individuals were just indicated a few moments ago. Not just here, but on York Island, on Vancouver Island, across Canada between 1939 and 45, and in fact in far distant fields, in Italy, in Asia, Europe, and I'm not just talking about those in khaki, but those in the light blue and the dark blue. So those of you who served in the Second War are here, and I'm sure you brought your memories here with you. And not only those of you who served in the Second War are here, but your friends, your families, your relatives are here to remember this day and to remember your service. But those are not the only individuals here. There are a lot of young people who were not even alive during the Second War. I barely made it by a couple of years myself, so I don't recall any of it. But we're here because of what the Canadian Armed Forces, typified by the battery that was here, and by those of you who served, and those who continue to serve in the Armed Forces, have done for Canada. And to pay tribute to all of those sailors, soldiers, airmen, men and women who have served Canada. And as a serving soldier, albeit a part-time reservist, I am honored to be here today with you, with all of you, for this very special day. And I look forward to the unveiling and a few moments of this plaque. Thank you.